This is section 8.1, common factors. This is the second half of the notes for section 8.1, and we are learning about factoring by grouping. Looking at example 1, we're going to factor 2x plus 7x. And what is the greatest common factor of both terms? 2 and 7, their greatest common factor is 1, so there is nothing to factor out. We're going to factor out an x. We're going to factor it out and rewrite. It's going to be x times 2 plus 7. It's going to change a little bit with example 2. We're going to factor a times b minus 7 plus b times a minus 7. And what do both terms have in common? They both have a b minus 7 term, so that is what we are factoring out. They both have that b minus 7 term, so we're going to write b minus 7. Factor that out, and what remains is the a plus b. When it is factored, it is factors to the product of b minus 7 times a plus b. Number 3, factor 6x times 4x plus 3 minus 5 times 4x plus 3. Both have a factor of 4x plus 3. So it's 4x plus 3 times 6x minus 5. Example 4 looks a little different. It's y to the 5th minus 5y to the 3rd plus 4y squared minus 20. Looking at the first two terms, we can factor out a y to the 3rd, and we've got y squared minus 5 plus, looking at the third and fourth terms, the 4y squared minus 20, we can factor out a 4, and then we've got y squared minus 5. Look at the y squared minus 5 in both terms. We're going to have y squared minus 5 times y to the 3rd plus 4. In example 5, we want to be able to change the order of which the terms are written. If we want to change the order of 2 minus 5x, we're going to factor out a negative 1. It's 5x minus 2. If we distribute that negative 1 back in, that's negative 5x plus 2, which is the same as 2 minus 5x, where we started. Okay. 3 minus 8x, again, to change the order, factor out a negative 1 times 8x minus 3. 7 minus 10x, factor out the negative 1, and it becomes 10x minus 7. To use that now for example 6, we're going to factor 3y times 5x minus 2 minus 4 times 2x minus 5. Inside those parentheses, the 5x minus 2 and the 2 minus 5x are not the same. So to change the order of the 2 minus 5x, we factor out a negative 1. 3y times 5x minus 2 minus 4 times negative 1 times 5x minus 2. Now we've got 5x minus 2 and 5x minus 2. Factor it out. Times 3y minus, and the negative, make it plus 4. Example 7. Again, we need to change the order, and we're going to do that by factoring out a negative 1 of that second term. So it's going to be plus 7 times x minus 5. X minus 5 is the common factor times 3y plus 7. Example 8. Look at the first two terms and what can be factored out. Factor out a y times 5x minus 9 minus 2 times 9 minus 5x. Again, we need to use that factoring out that -1 so we can change the order. So it's going to be y times 5x minus 9 plus 2 times 5x minus 9. 5x minus 9 times y plus 2. Example 9. Look at the first two terms and what can be factored out. Just looking at these two, we can factor out a 2y squared times y minus 1 minus, now look at these terms, we can factor out a 3 times y, yes, it will match, minus and minus makes it plus 3 when we multiply. They both have a factor of y minus 1 times 2y squared minus 3. Careful with your signs. Example 10. The first two terms, we can factor out a y, and then we've got a 7xy minus 3 plus the third and fourth terms factor out a 2, and we've got 7xy minus 3. Oh my goodness, look, 7xy minus 3 times y plus 2. Then we have the question, when do you try to factor by grouping? Okay. One is when the terms have a common factor. Or when there are 4 terms. If there are 4 terms, I always try factor by grouping first. Those are the notes for section 8.1, common factors, factoring by grouping.